the new defense secretary, Ash Carter, has, quote, flatly denied in a press conference, and we're pulling that press conference in right now, or at a Pentagon briefing, that there is a takeover of Texas and martial law planned. What we said is that the feds are openly preparing the military for civil war and gun confiscation and civil unrest. That is in hundreds of news articles, hundreds of different public manuals. We link to them ad nauseum, so they come out and misrepresent that we're saying an imminent total takeover is happening in July and August into September. And that is not the case. And they act like in the media that for just some crazy reason, Chuck Norris, Governor Greg Abbott, Alex Jones, Senator Ted Cruz are just imagining things are going on. Have you looked around at what's happening? The president is acting as a dictator, outside of law, not even with executive orders, deciding policy and law, and Congress isn't even challenging. And I'll tell you why Congress isn't challenging. Congress tells court that Congress can be investigated for insider trading. And what's happening is Congress has previously passed a law claiming that they're allowed to insider trade but that other people aren't allowed. So again, Congress tells court that Congress can't be investigated for insider trading. My news article was printed, cut off, the T. A lot of my articles are printed with a little bit of stuff cut off, so I read can't. I thought, well, that's not right. They said can't, and I had to double take and go back. But Congress, imagine telling court that Congress can't be investigated for insider trading, kind of like the Obama administration says they can't be investigated for IRS Gate or Benghazi Gate or Fast and Furious Gate or NSA Gate. The list goes on and on and on. So that's all coming up today. But just in one stack of news I was going through out of more than 20, just look at the atmosphere we're in. Carter denies internet rumors, no Texas takeover planned. But in the words of Jon Stewart, the takeover already happened. We're just pointing out the continued acclimation and conditioning. And then look at these headlines. Secret deal could contain a myriad of gun restrictions and ammo bans. Gun owners of America. Let's get Larry Pratt on this Sunday or this Monday, because the word is from Professor Lott and others is the next big wave of gun grabbing is coming. Look at this headline. Police seize 10 children from off-the-grid homeschool family that openly published photos of their farm life and their good-looking, happy homeschooled family on Facebook. And they just said, well, we don't feel like your kids are getting a good education and they're not vaccinated. We're taking them. That's in the news. And there's no law in Kentucky to be inoculated, but they just took them. My children aren't either. There's no law, but they might, I guess, come. Here's another one. Appeals court rules cops can track your cell phone without a warrant. Here's another headline. Obama is more hostile towards the press than any president in history. Here's another headline. Motel sharing daily guest lists with police and aiding warrant checks on every guest. And when you order a pizza from a major chain, same thing happens. And what I just mentioned, Congress tells court that Congress can't be investigated for insider trading. I guess if a cop pulls you over and you got a bottle of Jack Daniels and drunk with a stripper passed out next to you, just tell them I can't be investigated for drunk driving. See how that works. I guess it may in this new atmosphere. It's all coming up. Several big guests as well. Put into law even stronger provisions to allow conscientious and religious objection to forced inoculation. Then we have a filmmaker coming on, the new documentary coming out of Dogs and Men, the unprecedented police shooting of even dogs as small as chihuahuas, or police shooting a barking dog that's over a fence. It's just people that want to use their gun too much, that are hotheads, and then you've got police departments defending it. It's all part of this accelerated, out-of-control militarization. That is coming up today. Both those guests will be joining us for the first 20, 30 minutes of the second and third hours. At the bottom of the third hour, or halfway into the hour, we are going to have David Knight and Rob Dew in studio. They have got some major developments they're going to break down dealing with Jade Helm that no one else has basically talked about or looked at other than establishment trade publications, some of them going back 5 years. And we're going to have video clips, we're going to have analysis, we're going to have graphs, breakdowns of all of this. If you're a radio listener, you can go to Infowars.com/show to find the free video feed, or later by this evening, we'll have full reports on this posted at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But this is just more proof. I'll give you a sneak preview of what's coming up, a first look. With the fact they're using Facebook and Twitter and systems to geographically map the United States and where the resistance to a globalist takeover is going to be and where resistance to gun confiscation is going to be, so they can focus their Rural Affairs Commission run by the Pentagon, and they can focus their different FEMA groups and their different threat fusion activities against anyone who wants to be self-sufficient and who just wants to be left alone. This is a full conquering, not just of the states and the cities and the towns, and a full federalization and a conquering of the local police that could be taken back by the people and used to restore law and order by the globalists that have occupied the country. And that ties into a host of articles that I have today. I want to try to get this family on. Police seize 10 children from off-grid homeschool family. And they've got 26 acres. It's on a lake. It's a pastoral. You can go to their different websites, and it just looks like heaven. Looks like the kind of place my dad grew up. And just happy, hardworking farming family. And they have had their children taken, and in the CPS report it said they are not inoculated. And they don't have teaching certificates to teach the children. California and 2 other states are trying to pass laws. You got to have a teaching certificate from accredited college to be a homeschooler. The problem with that is A, school choice, B, basic freedom, parental rights. But when you move on down the line, the most overarching issue is homeschoolers have the highest test scores, the highest rate of scholarships, the highest rate of corporate headhunting, the highest rate of winning international spelling bees, geography bees, math quizzes. Everyone knows that almost every international and national spelling bee champion is a homeschooler. My late uncle and his wife, my aunt, homeschooled their children. And one of them runs a music school successfully in New York. The other works for a major computer company and is already an executive at 35 years old. The other has been in radio, TV, and very successful. Helped launch InfoWars, finally entice him to come back and work here, Buckley Hammond. The point is that homeschooling's become so popular that in Austin, about 20% of the kids are homeschooled. And now it's not even really homeschooling anymore. They form their own homeschooling federations. They have their own homeschooling academies, some of which are bigger than public schools, where the kids go 2-3 days a week. They have so many events. My children have been homeschooled now because they want to get into more sports. They're not. They go to a private school, and they're enjoying that. But it's still almost quasi. They let the kids get out for golf or tennis or for field trips, or if we want to go on a longer trip. So it's the private schools, the prep academies are making themselves more like homeschooling. So it's causing a choice revolution. And I can't tell you how many cases of where the CPS's own reports prove they're out of control. Because it'll just be, I see articles all the time out of the most liberal areas too, like Washington State or Oregon, where it'll be, the family had 5 kids and lived in a trailer and had an Airstream bus and were homeschooled. And you read both parents, you know, they're always PhDs. And they're not vaccinated. They have a garden. Their kids look super healthy. Their eyes are all shiny. They don't watch television. They got their own wind farm. The kids are volunteering in town for the homeless. And they come and CPS them. And then they inoculate them against the parents' will outside of law. And then they take them away. And they just put on screen a WorldNet Daily article about homeschooler parents interrogated about guns. And